Hello and welcome back to Wildsun Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video if it seems like a fun thing to do. So, our library is going to start doing this really super fun thing. We're going to have an artist trading card swap at the local library. It's just going to be a setup in the library, like a little skinny shelf on a wall somewhere or something like that. And you can just walk in the library. I think all libraries should do this. This would be so fun. And bring an artist trading card that you have made and swap it with one of the artist trading cards that's up on the wall. And you can just, like once a week, you could make a new artist trading card and take it to the library and swap it out for some gorgeous art that some other person had made. So I thought I would do some videos about making backgrounds. One of the formulas that gets used out there is first you make a background, and then you can make a background that's just exactly as big as the card, or you could make a bigger background, as big as a whole piece of paper or bigger. And then the second thing you do is make a focal point. Like maybe you have a cutout from a magazine, or it could be really anything, a photograph or an object or a shape. I've often used, paper cuts and all kinds of little paper objects. You could draw a picture of a person or just a face or a hand or two hands or whatever. And then the third part is you add bling. So you could use little sticky back jewels. You could make a paper cut or anything that's just kind of cute and maybe sparkly or metallic. Or you could draw, you could get like a pen, like a white pen or a black pen, and draw. Anyway, so today we're going to focus on backgrounds. And a really fun way to make backgrounds is to get a piece of fabric. This is just plain old muslin. And you want to get a piece of cardstock and put it underneath. And you can take a Sharpie marker. This is fine point. It's that point. So it's not super skinny. And this one doesn't have a lot of ink. So it's not doing this thing that I really like. Anyway, there's that one. Let's try doing that same shape again. This is a big chisel tip. And see what happens. Yes, this is doing it. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of expanding into the cloth. We can do any kind of a design. If you draw kind of slowly, it really gives the ink a minute to kind of bleed onto the fabric. Sorry, words. Oh, look. This is working really well. Do you see how this is like really getting a fun halo around it? I don't know. Sometimes it's fun just to take a permanent marker and draw on the cloth, I was excuse me, watching a video on Netflix yesterday about the work of Henri Matisse. See what happens if I go really slowly. Anyway, he did these wonderful cutouts in this general shape. And I remembered that I had gone to an exhibit, maybe in New York, maybe in Boston. It was a long time ago. To some big museum, and of his paper cuts. This is kind of stinky. I should do this in a room that has lots of air in it, or even outside. Anyway, I bought the book he wrote called Jazz. I think it took him about 10 years to make all the different art pieces that were in the book. He didn't put all this other extra stuff in. I'm just doing that because I can. I'm not sure I'm going to love this, but it's really fun to play. So anyway, the idea for the artist trading cards is to draw on a piece of muslin and fill the cloth, and then you can cut the cloth up into smaller pieces. And put them onto a card that may or may not have some more color on it. I mean, you could just use colored cardstock. So here I did a bunch of circles. I inked around the edge in blue, and I don't know if you can tell, but the cardstock that I used is the cardstock that's underneath, that's catching the extra color as it bleeds through. And so you can see little kind of shadows of color on the cardstock. And I've used just small bits of the fabric, and then looks like I had some watercolor paper too. There's that design again. Do I have it? Yeah. This design of these leaf colors. There's the blue one, and there it is on the backing paper. There's a big spiral. I don't know what all those... Maybe I just drew some more polka dots on. So you can cut out a smaller piece or a bigger piece, or you could cut out the entire artist trading cards are 2.5 inches wide and 3.5 inches tall, or you can make them sideways too. And you can add writing. There are lots of colors that poked through. And this I used, a really fine point black Sharpie with one of those, I think they call this extra fine black, with a fine point the medium, what they call fine point, with the extra fine point. And there's some more watercolor paper, and there's some cutouts. So you can mix and match according to whatever agenda you've got going. And have a lovely time just filling the space. And if something comes out kind of wonky, you don't have to use that piece of cloth, or you could use it later and like do some stitching on top of it so it doesn't really show. I'm going kind of slowly here, hoping that this blue, and I'm also using the side of the pen. Hoping that the blue will bleed a little bit into the cloth. These pens actually, if they were brand new and they had lots of juice in them, they would bleed a little more. And then a pen that we have, it's maybe a little older, like these, wouldn't bleed so much. And just make sure that you're still on your background cardstock. So that you do not have a colorized table. So as I draw, a story in my life is that I just had to go renew my license, and I got a new picture, and everybody was still I had to use hand sanitizer, and everybody had to wear a mask, and so I was sort of surprised, but that's still a thing. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be. What would happen if I use some dark blue? Anyway, the woman at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles was really super nice. So, shout out to Midcoast Maine's Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And she just sailed through my name thing. She was really great about it. You know, not like, ew, who are you? And my computer doesn't like people with one-word names. She was just like, oh, I know what we can do to kind of get around the fact that computers assume that everybody has at least two names. And I realized that most people do have two names, so that's not such a weird assumption. But anyway, there was a little hitch. I got one of those, it's a new thing, a real, what do they call it? A real license or a real ID or something like that. And basically, it's going to be the new thing, but it just means that the people at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles have checked that I really am a citizen and I really do live where I say I do. So I had to have proof, which I happen to have on hand, because actually the website said I had to bring my passport and everything. So actually, I don't think you have to be a citizen. I think you just need to be whatever kind of legal resident. And so you bring federal ID, and you bring, she had me go get the registration for my car. And that means that the town I live in was verifying the fact that I actually live where I say I do. So that was easy because I drove my car to the DMV. No, it's called Bureau. BV, Bureau of Motor Vehicles. BMV. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, she was super nice and talked me through the whole thing and everything I needed to have. And I guess it's going to be a real thing. And my daughter was saying that because of COVID, it was supposed to be a real thing already. But it means that, like, if I had to get on a plane and fly from my state to another state, my license is now, it has a little thing up in the corner, and it will prove that I have shown my passport to the person at the bureau and proven that I am who I am. I am who I am. That's a Popeye reference. I think that's what he used to say. And so if I went to an airport, I could just show my license and that will be enough. And that's not a thing at this point. You don't actually have to do that in order to travel yet because of COVID. So people weren't, it was just everything was harder to make happen because of the pandemic. But someday that will be a thing. And we will all need to get real IDs. It's not like the old ones were fake, but anyway, that. Hey, this is really fun. I like making polka dots that sort of bleed their color. Now it'll be fun to look at the cardstock underneath. Look, lots of polka dots. Well, let's play with red some more because red is fun. It's like bubbles. These are so stinky. Ooh, if you kind of press harder, ink comes out more. And it bleeds more. This is a very fun meditative thing to do. Again, just make sure you're still on your cardstock. I mean, I guess if I'd cut a slightly smaller piece of cloth, that would be easier to tell. Oh, goodness, we've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, so the idea is orange bubbles. The idea is just to have fun drawing patterns on your cloth, and then when you're all done, you can take a card and you can either, trace out and color, have the whole card, or you can take a little piece and cut it out and, play with positioning the cloth in a special way. That's a pretty good card. not sure which way I like it. And I love this card, which is why I'm drawing more circles. Because they're so pretty. So, as usual, I've been watching more videos that say we should all meditate, even if only for 5 minutes, at least once a day, that it's very good for our mental health. And I guess, our spiritual health too. And my deal is that it sort of freaks me out to have all that quiet going on. My monkey mind really appreciates being entertained. So I realize I'm talking to you now, but often when I'm here in my studio and I'm just by myself, I have two yellows and I don't know if they're different colors. Ooh, this one has some blue on it. But when I'm not talking, that's kind of like meditation. I mean, just to draw circles all over a piece of cloth. What happens if you draw it? Ooh, that bleeds really nicely if I draw the circle twice. So I'm getting some of my meditation needs met. So just to show you how, let's use this.